Hello again, and welcome back to Educator.com's Advanced PHP with MySQL course. In today's lesson, we're going to be continuing development of our web application. In particular, we're going to be adding a new version called version 4.0, and the main feature that we're going to be adding is we're going to be allowing us to, when we add an item to the store on our admin website, we're going to allow the admin user to upload an item image file along with the form. As you saw in our last example of the web application, our last web development lesson, if we look at our old admin site, when we go to add an item to the store, it adds the item to the store. However, when we go to view it, it doesn't actually have a image for it. And these are the actually two items we added from the last time we did the web application lesson. And so we're going to fix that problem today. So we're going to allow you to upload an image, and we're going to make use of what we learned in our last lesson about file uploads using the HTTP post method. So basically, what we need to do is we need to alter add_item.php, which is our admin form that allows us to add a new item to the store. Specifically, we need to change the encoding type of that form. It's a post form. We need to change it to multi-part form data, because as we learned in our last lesson, you need to, when you're doing file uploads, you need to set the encoding type to that value. We're going to add a file input tag, which is we're going to be used to have that input element to upload an image file. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to remove the image file extension drop-down box where we can pick GIF, JPEG, PNG, because what we're going to do is now that we're uploading the file, we're going to write it into our code that it's going to be able to dynamically figure out what the extension of that image file is. So if we look at add_item.php and we look at the new version of it down in our form, we can see that we've added this OncType attribute, set it to multi-part form data. And then we've also added a file input tag, and we're setting the name of it equal to item image. And we've gotten rid of that image file extension drop-down menu. So in order to upload an image for a new item to the file, what we're actually going to be doing is updating our insert item function, which in our last lesson we saw added a new file to our items.txt file and also updated the last added.txt file. But we're going to alter this so that what it's going to do, it's going to be able to handle the image file upload. And we're going to do that by providing information to it that's provided from the file superglobal that PHP provides for us. So for example, if you look at our new add_item.php script, we can see at the beginning here that we've actually added a new line for processing form variables that's going to test if a file input element was submitted that was named item image, which is the name we gave to our file input element on this form. And if so, it's going to return that the associative array associated with that file upload, which, as we saw in our last lesson, contains things like the name, the temporary location of the file, how big it is, content type, and so forth. And if not, we're going to set it equal to null. Sort of the same thing we do for processing all of our form variables. And then what we're going to do is, if we look at our old data processing section of add_item.php, we can see that our insert item function, it basically just took an associative array containing the information submitted on the form for that new item. Well, in our new version, because we're uploading an image, insert item is actually going to take that same new item information, but it's also going to provide to insert item a copy of the information provided in the files array. And in order to use this updated insert item function, we're going to be creating a couple of helper functions. One is called getFileExtension, and what that's going to do is we're going to use that to extract the extension of the image file that was uploaded. So as before, we had a drop-down box where we would select the extension of the image file. Now we're going to create this helper function in util_lib.php that's going to, from the name of the file that was uploaded, be able to figure out what its extension is. We're going to create a helper function called moveUploadedFile, which is basically going to take the process of moving that temporarily the items image that was temporarily uploaded to our temp directory and moving it into the item images directory in our web application. And one thing to note that we're going to go over is in the getFileExtension method, we're going to be using a new PHP function called pathinfo. Let's actually take a look at our new insert_item.php. Excuse me, insert_item method. And as we can see, it takes two parameters now. It takes an associative array with information about the new item, and then also takes basically a copy of that information in the file superglobal that was up for a particular image that was uploaded. The beginning is basically the same. We're creating a new getting the new image item ID for this particular item. But then what we're also going to do is we're going to supply to this getFileExtension function the name, the value associated with the name key in the file superglobal. So for example, for our item image uploaded file, we're going to get the name of that, which is the name of that file on the client server, on the client machine where it was updated from. So example, if we're updating baseball.gif, then what we're going to be doing is supplying to getFileExtension that name, baseball.gif, and then we're going to be setting our items, the associative array associated with our item. We're going to set the image file extension key equal to that extension. If we take a look at getFileExtension, what it does is it takes the file name that we're providing it, which is going to be like something like baseball.gif, basketball.gif, whatever. And we're going to basically use this pathinfo function provided by PHP. What pathinfo function does is it basically takes in a file or a path to a file and then returns in an array of associative array of information about that particular file. Specifically, it provides a couple of keys like the dir name, the directory name of the file, the name of the file, and what we're most interested in is the extension of the file. So what this is going to do is return an array of information about that particular file, and then we're going to just basically test and see if an extension key exists in that array, and which it will for an image file we've uploaded. And if so, it's going to set our file extension equal to that, and then basically this is just some conditional text to return the file extension if it existed. So now we've gone and this first thing we've done is we've set the file extension for our particular item using this getFileExtension helper function. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move that uploaded image from the temporary directory into our application's image directory. So we're basically going to make use of this new function created called moveUploadedImage, and what that does is it's going to take two parameters. The first one is going to be the absolute path to the temporarily uploaded file, and as we learned in our lesson on file uploads, that's contained in the temp name under the temp name key in our files array for our particular uploaded image. And then it also takes what we want to rename the file to. And this moveUploadedImage is going to know the directory where to store the file, but we need to provide it the file name. So what we're going to do is, as we have been doing for all of our items, is the name of the item's image is just going to be the item's ID. In this case, it's the new item ID, followed by an extension that is the image file extension that was returned from getFileExtension. So if we go to our moveUploadedImage function, we can see that it takes two parameters: the source path, which is the path to the temporary uploaded file, and then the destination name, which is the name we want to give to this item's image file. Now, moveUploadedFile is the function provided by PHP that we talked about, and what it does is it takes two absolute paths. It takes the absolute path to the temporary file and the absolute path to the destination file that where you're going to move the file to. So basically, instead of just providing the name of the file, we also have to provide the location of it. And so here we're creating a variable called destination path, which just uses the server root along with our image directory constant, and then to basically set the path of the image directory, and then append to that the name that we provide for our item image. So basically, it's going to say it's going to be a path that's going to point to the image directory, and it's going to have the file name being 1007.jpg, for example, for if an item 1007 was added. Then we just go ahead and call the move uploaded file. It'll move it to the image directory and return true or false on whether that was successful or not. So after we've done that, we move the uploaded image. The rest of this function is basically the same. It goes ahead and it updates our item.txt file with all the information about the new item. So for example, it's going to add a new row to this file. It's going to update our last added.txt file with the item number of the new item that we've added. So the difference is in the beginning where it's going to extract the file extension of the file we uploaded and then also move that file. So if we go and try out our new version of this admin site, version 4.0, let's create a new item we'll call it basketball number 2. And then we're going to browse to a basketball image. We actually already have, well, this one's here. We actually already have an image. Well, actually, let's do a baseball bat. And I'm just actually pulling this image from our current images directory because we already have that. So let's call it bat number 2. So now when we click Add Item, it's going to add the item to our items.txt file, add all the information about it, and it's also going to move this baseball bat image into our items directory. So if we go to Add Item, it's going to say the item was successfully added. It was assigned to item 1007. If we go and look at our version of the store and we click on View Cart, all the way at the bottom we can see our new item, and now it actually has an image that we can click on, whereas in our previous version of the web app, we didn't have an item image. So now we've gone and are able to upload an image. If we click on it, it goes to the item.php page, and it works just as well. It's able to pull that image out. If we actually go and look at our images directory in version 4.0, we can see that we've created a file called item1007.gif, which is a copy of that baseball bat image that we uploaded. We can see that it's appropriately named. It's item 1007, which is the ID of that new item, and it has the appropriate extension, which is GIF, because the image that we uploaded was a GIF file, and so our code was able to extract that from the file. One other thing, small change we made to this version of the web app is we also updated the isValidItem function, which basically validates the data that's submitted on our add item form, and we updated it so that it'll also check to make sure that there were no errors in uploading the image file for our item. So if we actually go and look at, and this is in our util lib file, we go to isValidItem, we can see that now it takes 2 parameters, and actually if we go back and look at addItem.php, we can see that we pass isValidItem. We pass it not only the information in the associative array about the new item, but also that item image data that's taken from the file superglobal. And this is opposed to our last version where we just passed it information about the non-image information about the file. So in our new isValidItem, we take 2 parameters. The second one being information about the image data file. We just have a test here to make sure that both of them are not null. We have the same test for the non-image information that we provided. We just test that the name, price, and description are all provided, that the name and description are strings, and that price is numeric. We've also removed the test for to make sure that the image file extension was a string, because we're actually automatically pulling that on our own. It's not actually being supplied anymore. Because if we actually go and look at our last version of this function, we can see that it actually tested to see that image file extension was a string, but we're not providing that on the form anymore, so we don't include that as part of our test. And then what we've done is we've added a test called image test that basically just tests that the error key of that set in the file superglobal for our uploaded image is equal to 0, which means, as we learned, 0 means that there was no error in uploading the file. And then, so assuming that all of these tests pass, then our item is valid. And so that's the validation we've added for this additem.php form. So that ends today's lesson. Thank you for watching educator.com. I look forward to seeing you next time.